Before Oprah, before Jay-Z, before LeBron, there was Robert L. Johnson, a man who changed the game forever. But few know the real story behind the first black billionaire in America. Today, we're diving deep into the untold journey of the man who built BET and built history. This isn't just a business success story, it's a story about vision, barriers, controversy, and a legacy that still shapes dreams today. Grab a seat. This is the story of Robert Louis Johnson. Born on April 8, 1946 in Hickory, Mississippi, a small town carved into the heart of the segregated South. Robert was the ninth of 10 children. His parents were working-class heroes. His mother, a school teacher who believed deeply in the power of education, and his father, a factory worker who taught him the value of hard work. In an America built to keep black families at the margins, success wasn't handed over. It had to be fought for, inch by inch. When Robert was still a boy, his family relocated to Freeport, Illinois, chasing better opportunities. There, Robert came into his own, a quiet, observant kid with a mind like a steel trap. He wasn't born into wealth, he was born into ambition. Robert attended the University of Illinois, majoring in history. But even then, he was playing chess, not checkers, understanding that history wasn't just something you studied, it was something you shaped. Later, he earned a master's degree in international affairs from Princeton University, a rare and remarkable achievement for a black man in the 1970s. It wasn't just academics, it was strategy. Robert understood that knowledge is leverage, and he was preparing to change the game. After Princeton, Robert stepped into the world of Washington, D.C. He first worked for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, then for the National Urban League. Later, he became the press secretary for the Congressional Black Caucus. But here's the thing. Working on Capitol Hill gave Robert something more valuable than a paycheck. It gave him access. He shook hands with media executives. He sat across the table from power brokers. He listened. He learned. He positioned himself. By the late 70s, something big was happening. Cable TV was exploding. New channels were popping up everywhere, but none spoke directly to Black America. Robert saw the gap, and where others saw an absence, he saw an opportunity. In 1979, armed with a bold idea and just $15,000, $10,000 of it borrowed, Robert Johnson founded Black Entertainment Television, BT. At first, BET wasn't even a full channel. It was a modest 2-hour programming block on the Madison Square Garden Sports Network. The budget, shoestring. The sets, basic. The content, revolutionary. Programs like Video Soul, BET News, and Comic View gave black artists, journalists, and entertainers a national platform, one the mainstream media had long denied them. By the mid-1980s, BET evolved into a full-fledged network, the first black-owned company ever listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Robert Johnson had taken a handful of borrowed dollars and turned it into a movement. But with success came controversy. As BET grew in visibility and profitability, it faced tough criticism. Some accused the network of promoting negative stereotypes. Critics pointed to music videos filled with hypersexualized images and a lack of educational programming, arguing that BET sometimes prioritized profit over positive representation. Robert didn't duck the criticism, he faced it head-on. In his mind, BET was a business, not a charity. He believed that providing what the audience wanted and what advertisers would support was the only way to build a self-sustaining, black-owned media empire. It sparked a conversation, one that continues to this day, about balancing artistic freedom, commercial success, and cultural responsibility. But love it or hate it, one thing was undeniable. Robert Johnson created a platform where none existed before. In 2000, after more than 2 decades of building BET from the ground up, Robert Johnson sold the company to Viacom for an astonishing $3 billion. His personal take-home? Around $1 billion. With that deal, Robert L. Johnson officially became America's first black billionaire, breaking a barrier that had seemed immovable for centuries. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the message. We can build, we can own, we can win. After selling BET, Robert didn't just cash out and disappear. He stayed on as CEO for a few years, then pivoted into new ventures. He launched the RLJ companies, an empire spanning hotels, private equity, real estate, entertainment, and even sports. For a time, he even owned the Charlotte Bobcats NBA team, becoming the first Black majority owner of a major American sports franchise. Robert's journey wasn't just about building personal wealth, it was about building generational wealth. It was about opening doors that had been locked for too long, doors that many believed would never budge, doors that stood as silent sentinels of exclusion. In a country where billion-dollar dreams for Black Americans were often dismissed as fantasy, where systemic barriers whispered, "This isn't for you," Robert L. Johnson didn't just knock on those doors, he kicked them down. He proved that those dreams were not only possible, but worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth rewriting the rules for. He didn't just chase the American dream, he dismantled its old, narrow definitions and rebuilt it in his own image. Where others saw ceilings, he saw blueprints. Where others heard no, he heard not yet. And with every bold move, every calculated risk, he didn't just climb the ladder, he built a new one and extended a hand to those coming up behind him. For generations to come, that dream shines a little brighter because Robert Louis Johnson had the courage to build his own stage. Not just to stand on it alone, but to invite others to stand tall beside him. His legacy isn't just in the empires he constructed, but in the minds he liberated, the possibilities he unlocked. If Robert Johnson's story inspired you today, just imagine how many more untold stories are out there. Stories of resilience, brilliance, and unshakable vision, waiting to light a fire in someone's soul. Stories that whisper, "If they did it, so can you." And trust me, this is only the beginning. The world is full of future Roberts, future moguls, creators, and barrier breakers who just need to see that first spark of proof. We're just getting started. Hit that like button if you believe in building your own legacy, not the one others expect from you, but the one you dare to claim for yourself. Subscribe if you're ready for more powerful, untold stories like this one, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Because history isn't just written by the loudest voices, it's shaped by those bold enough to write their own narrative. And one last thing before you go. If you could build your own empire, what would it be? What door would you kick down? What dream would you turn into your reality? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your vision. The next chapter of greatness starts with you. Thanks for watching. Stay driven, stay hungry, stay legendary.